Then a quick shot.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Once again, it is time for Game 4 now, and it is between the SK Gaming and Alliance. SK Gaming are yet to take a win off Alliance so far in the summer split. They're now 0-3. Can it be 0-4? Who knows? However, of course, they did look strong yesterday against Millennium, while the game didn't exactly start off so well, with Freddy, of course, being caught out on the red buff. A little bit unlucky, I think you could say. But then, of course, he was camped in that top tower, losing 2 deaths. But they were the only 2 deaths into the entire game for Freddy. They came back very, very strong. A decisive dragon fight led to a domination across the map for them, as Millennium tried and failed to counterattack several times throughout.
Yeah, they really did. And SK just found a level of play and a strength that we associated with them earlier in the year. They were so dominant in the match, but one game does not get me on board the hype train yet. So to get me on board, I need to see Svenskeren and Jesus. These are the 2 players that need to convince me. Yesterday, Svenskeren and Jesus had fantastic performances. Sven played Elise, he was invading, he controlled his opponent's jungle, and Jesus playing Ahri, his roaming was incredible, and very importantly, his timing was spot on, dealing with Kerp's teleport Kassadin very, very effectively. So SK want to take a game off the #1 team. These 2 will need to disrupt Alliance's flow. And also remember, Alliance played Riven yesterday, they did not today. So let's see if Sven has something up his sleeves to deal with Shook, who had a very strong game on Elise as well.
Well, earlier today we saw Alliance, of course, defeat Gambit. They locked up first place in the league overall, but initially looked very close. 4-2 in that crazy, crazy early fight.
Yes, and Alliance continued to play a little risky in those team fights. They lost multiple kills, trading back and forth with Gambit, but their objective control was unquestionable. They didn't lose a tower, secured 10, had absolute dragon control. Also, Alliance can be heartbreakers here to SK to prevent them climbing up this middle of the table battle if Alliance can pick up the win.
Well, while Alliance have yet to lose to SK Gaming in this split, both teams have had their issues. Both, of course, see weaknesses in their opponents.
I don't think we've lost against SK yet this season.
They're looking really strong. They've come a long way since Spring Split. They've already had their rough patch, and they're just going for ours now.
It's very important in your slump to stay positive and don't change anything. Then you're just playing bad, you overthink things, you always think we need to change this, we need to change that, and then you start making mistakes and your whole playstyle will be wrong.
I think SK tries to play a lot like us, like very rotational and objective based, but they have weaker individual players, so whenever we play against them, we do similar rotations, but we just manage to outplay them at every turn.
All the lanes are good in the jungle. I think the weakest lane is probably top lane, but they make up for that with really good bot lane.
Froggen's not hard carrying. They're playing good overall as a team.
I don't think we're gonna be like as nervous as we were against them before.
If we are going into the match with being scared already, then we're already lost. So we just gotta go into the game like nothing to lose, just everything to win.
And it's interesting that the team that finished #1 in the spring are nervous about facing the team that's #1 in summer.
Yeah, in the regular season at the very least. SK Gaming have been somewhat disheartened in recent weeks, but Jez said it quite well. It's not Froggen carrying, it's the whole team playing well. And I think that's a very fair statement.
Yeah, everybody's stepping up on that team. Let's check out those teams. Over on the blue side, it is SK Gaming, and you just saw them there. Freddy122 in the top lane, Svenskeren in the jungle, Jesus in the mid lane, Candy Panda as AD carry, and then Rated on support.
And on the red side, it is Alliance with Wicked up top, Shook in the jungle, Froggen in the mid lane, Tabs the AD carry, and Nif playing the support role.
So all week you've been voting on which team will come out on top, and according to the votes on LOLesports.com, it is 79% of you going for Alliance. That's a bigger vote for Alliance against SK Gaming than it was against Rockout.
Yes, that is the
Gambit, rather, sorry.
From earlier today. Well, Gambit did have some pretty good performances yesterday, and of course Alliance, it is their 2nd game of the day. Despite some questionable team fights, there was never a point where they were not in control of the map. And they'll be looking to do the same thing against SK. You heard in the video how Alliance was saying, I believe it was Tabs was saying that SK plays a similar style, that they play rotation, they play objective, but he feels they have weaker individual players. I actually mirror that sentiment. It's not often you see the SK players smashing the 1v1s and 2v2s. And if SK can elevate their individual performances, that's how they can help control Alliance.
Well, we are about to get underway with pick and bounds. We'll see how this one works out. We saw how it went earlier. Will they leave something open? Of course, SK left Kassadin open the other day and knew how to counter it. They knew what they were doing. Twisted Fate is banned away from Alliance. That was, of course, picked by Froggen earlier on today, as well as Aurelia taken off Wicked. Maokai and Kassadin banned out by Alliance. Gragas still open. Kog'Maw banned out. That's an important one for the AD carries.
It is very important, and also note Gragas is still available. As a side note, Alliance have banned Maokai in all 3 games they've played. That's either Wicked not wanting to deal with it in the top lane, or Alliance recognize the strength of the bark of that tree because they do not want to face off against it. I think Gragas has to be a consideration.
That's a wise
for
choice.
Both of these teams. Whether it's going to be first pick for Freddy or not is another question, because Freddy has tended to go towards Aatrox as opposed to Gragas. So this might be a calculated pick here from Alliance.
Well, I mean, Nidalee is a wise choice. Freddy has pretty much been playing that solely throughout the last week. Tristana, though, first picked in there. That does, of course, leave Gragas open for Wicked in that top lane. He wants to lock that one in. That's, as you mentioned, most likely going to be against an Aatrox in the top lane. Shook, will he go for a jungler here? Of course, he is up against Svenska, and everything is available. He has first choice, and he could go for that Lee Sin.
So that is a possibility, but we're having the other junglers up and available and knowing Shook plays Riven. I wonder if they're going to go another direction. Yesterday, Alliance locked in Kog'Maw and Morgana as their first 2. Kog'Maw is off the table. So the question is, what is Tabs playing next? We've seen a hover over Corki. Lucian is obviously not enabled. It is 4.12. So what is Tabs going to play as a replacement?
I'm not sold on this one. Jezza's thinking of going for Fizz. That is ballsy play up against Froggen in that mid lane. Assassins have not worked out overly well for Jezza's in the past.
His Ari was good against Millennium, though.
That's not really an assassin. You're not exactly getting in the face. It's a long-range poke.
I respectfully disagree. Ari lands a charm, has to go in to get all of your Spirit Rush damage down. Think of Selfie playing in the Baron Pit. He had to dive into 5. I think it has to be a consideration. If we see, it might even be an assassin v assassin. Froggen's been wanting to play Xerath. So if Jezz wants to play, you know, an assassin, it might be into a long-range poke. Ziggs is still available as well.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes for them. Svenska, of course, Elise and Morgana was picked in there for SK. What will Alliance counter with? Of course, they have an AD carry choice. Tabs has, as you mentioned, played a number. Corki is available, would be a strong choice. Ezreal currently being considered. We have seen Kraton playing this one just 2 weeks ago to great success. I think he went 8-1-9 or something like that in that match. Incredible result.
It's going to be an interesting one, and you know, I think he has to play a champion that's got some form of escape, especially with the hover over Fizz, knowing Jezz has played Ari yesterday. If Tabs locks in something like Corki or Ezreal, you do have that safety factor to get away, and you've got the mobility. Alliance have already got a lot of movement spells, a lot of displacement, and a lot of disengage as well as engage.
So think of this one. Consider this just for now. Fizz could get locked in. Think back to the Worlds. Faker played Riven to counter Fizz. Last time Nuke played it, if I recall. So that actually could be Froggen.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me, right? It is a possibility. But I don't know if Alliance would go all in for something like that. On the same token, they're first.
That's up.
There's nothing that can happen in this game that would cost Alliance anything. If that is going to be a Riven mid, it obviously means the jungler needs to be locked up. I don't think it will.
No, Oriana was picked in, so that will not be. That will be jungle, I think, for Shook there. Candy Panda also locking in the Aatrox for Freddy in the top lane. This, of course, leaves anything open for Froggen.
Xerath.
What does he fancy?
I think Xerath. Against an Oriana, he can do okay in the lane matchup, and Alliance...
I think he wants to play Anivia.
Alliance have paired Xerath and Riven together multiple times. They combo the stuns and the knock-up from Riven, along with the very long-range damage of Xerath to assassinate their opponents.
Well,
but if there was ever a time to experiment and have fun, it's in your last 2 games of the split when you've guaranteed first because of the phenomenal performances the team has put up.
Well, there's a giggling going on.
I think I'm sure all chat will be listening in.
Yeah, absolutely want to hear what they're saying here for this one. Froggen looks like he is making the decision. It could well be Xerath. It's locked in.
So the safe pick, it's the same combo Alliance have been putting together when Shook has been on his large winning streaks on Riven. 4 games played, 4 games undefeated. Keep in mind that Lee Sin was available, Evelyn was available, and again, Shook is showing preference to this Riven. It also means we're expecting Alliance to play aggressively. Gragas should have a fairly good time in the early game against Freddy if Shook decides to roam that way. I also think Ezreal, Braum, as long as they play aggressive, can have a similar situation to what Woolite and Unlimited did in the previous game. But Nif's just going to get in the face of Candy Panda and Rated and try to disrupt them, assuming we don't have a lane swap.
Assuming we don't have a lane swap and assuming this works out well. Nevertheless, some interesting picks from both teams, some strong picks from both teams. I think both teams actually probably got what they wanted in that pick and ban phase.
I think so too, and I do still feel the team fighting power in this game because of the Orianna is slightly in favor of SK, and I think the scaling does tend to lean a little more to SK's side. So if Alliance can win in the mid game, I think that's when they're going to hit their power spike earlier.
We'll see how it works out with the lineups. Do you think we'll have the edge in this matchup? Tweet hashtag SKWin for SK Gaming, and of course, all win for Alliance to @LOL Esports, and we'll see if you guys have changed your mind when we get into the game. Alliance are #1 in the league. Secured.
Yep.
Can they be champions? Can they dethrone Fnatic? That's all happening in 2 weeks' time. Of course, the quarterfinals will be next week right here in the studios. Tickets are available for that one. That will be happening on the Thursday and Friday. Regular times, best of 5s. You're going to make sure you don't want to miss that, that's for sure. Here we go, though. Game getting underway. SK Gaming starting out as the blue team, up against Alliance as the red team.
Well, we'll have to see how these laning phases, or how this laning phase rather, plays out. Svenskeren had a very, very good performance on Elise yesterday. Slightly risky invades because of the somewhat lack of vision when he was moving around the map. He needs to be careful of that because of the fact that you do not want to be fighting Riven in the jungle, especially once Riven gets the support of the right of the Arcane from Xerath. But look at this. Alliance have grouped up in the top tri-bush. If anyone from SK moves up that way, there's going to be a whole lot of damage coming up very, very early.
They have no ward. Tabs is scouting it out. You can hear the annoying noise as he gets a
I think that's Skynet.
dancing on there. Shook is also in there. This is going to be a full invade. Remember last time around, Shook, of course, against Fnatic played Riven, and it was a full invade from Fnatic that put Shook behind in the early phases. Freddy's already pinged it.
Yeah, and
no, actually, it's a lie. That's an Alliance ping.
And in the early stages of that game, Fnatic really punished the jungle of Alliance and tried to keep control with repeated invades over and over.
Ooh,
the reason it worked, they had support though.
They're going to see this late. You can see Svenskeren and Freddy are going to start off the blue. It's going to be a very late invade. There is a ward in the river just above. Can't see it on the mini-map.
Fully
will spot
them.
But of course, at 1:30, they are coming early. So this will give Svenskeren time to change. You can see he's already switched the spider form, skitters away as quick as possible. Freddy will go to safety. They will come in and get that ward, and I think they're going to steal this one away. We saw last time Shook and Wicked running around. That buddy system works well for them. Meanwhile, you can see down the bottom lane, Candy Panda and then Rated, they're thinking, fine, we're going to have some freedom down here. It's going to be a 2v1. We're going to try and shove this wave up fast.
Yeah, it looks to be a lane swap that Alliance have initiated. Candy Panda and Rated getting some auto attacks down early. Sven with a trade of buffs. Obviously having the information that his buff was stolen. So in this top lane, Freddy level 1, and Nif is already going to get the stun down.
Is he going to get stunned out? Yes, he is. Bloodwell's available. Ignite goes down. One more shot should be enough, but he's going to get away. Bloodwell's safe.
So Ignite burned, but they're going to force Freddy out of lane. This is going to delay his level up and slow him down. What we do see in the bottom, Svenskeren may be making a play. This is level 2. He does not have Cocoon. Keep that in mind. So Enrated needs to land a Dark Binding for this to work out.
Clever counter here from SK. It's been a long time since we saw that 3-man early dive down there. Freddy once again getting locked up. This time around, the stun will not land. Wicked still safe. It's a very dangerous game to play as well. Wicked, of course, is going to have some defensive stats on this one. They're going to pounce on towards him. Can barely rush away from there, and he's safe.
So Wicked gets out of a very similar gank to what Freddy did. It was just straight up teams diving. This time around, Svenskeren committed some time. He's behind in levels and behind in CS to Shook, and Shook is now trying to do the tower dive. He's level 3, got a full complement of abilities available to him. And obviously that ward is going to spot him out. In conjunction with the on-hit stun that Braum can provide, this should be a theoretical easier dive. It's not over though, because Wicked is still under pressure in the bottom lane. We'll see who comes out on top.
Freddy this time, he knows he's in trouble. He knows he's going to get caught out. There's the hit on towards the tower. Nif trades tower aggro. Freddy's Bloodwell will get caught out. Shook takes 2 tower hits. That's a lot of damage. Freddy's taken low. Tabs goes in for it. Shook's got to be careful here. He could get taken down. He will get the hit. The trade is good. And Alliance get themselves first blood.
Now Wicked's in trouble. They're going to dive him.
They're going to go towards him. He's got that belly slam available. He's not going to get away this time around, though. Belly slam on Candy Panda will not slow down. Good trade of aggro again from SK.
1 for 1. On the side of Alliance, it's the jungler that picks up the kill in Shook, which I actually think is a good call. Shook needs items and gold for Riven to be as effective as he can be. But because of the lane swap scenario that Alliance initiated, SK Gaming are going to get the first global objective in that dragon. It will be replied with a tower though, so global gold should stay fairly even. I do think you need to give a lot of credit to Alliance for that tower dive. They took a lot of damage, but traded and juked the tower hits very, very effectively. So, well played by both teams on the respective dives. 1 tower for 1 dragon, completely even on gold at 5 minutes.
So, mid lane, we haven't had a chance to look at Froggen and Jez as Jez is caught out with a stun straight away and quickly bursted down by Froggen. It's a combo he was landing non-stop against Overpower yesterday that was working out well for him. Xerath definitely is a champion that's risen to prominence in this mid lane. A lot of mid laners, especially in Europe, really are liking this one.
Yeah, favoriting the long-range harass and damage, really, that he can put down. And, you know, in these lane swap scenarios, these mid laners basically get left on an island. In normal lane scenarios, it's the top laners that basically just live alone and generally have little involvement unless junglers get up there. But we'll see Freddy continues to get pushed away. Without his tower, it's going to make his farming and leveling much more difficult and risky.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that Alliance have chose to stay in this top lane. They're freezing the lane out and actually causing Freddy a couple of problems. Finally, of course, Wicked is going back down towards that bottom lane, so they haven't decided to quickly switch up the moment that tower went down.
Well, there's no dragon, so because the objective had already been secured by SK Gaming, the swap to defender to apply threat is removed.
Whoa.
Oh, that's the flash stun.
Shook flashed on towards him. Cocoon was already used. Froggen can come in. Stun has not been used by Froggen yet, as far as I'm aware. He will sidestep. Akano Pulse is now in trouble. Shook's going to get caught out. Dark Binding and Rated secures the kill for that one.
So when Rated is in the right place at the right time, he had left Candy Panda to deal with Wicked alone in that lane and comes up just in time to support his teammates. Froggen was fairly low on mana during that engage as well, so wasn't really able to spam out all the spells. Svenskeren stays alive thanks to that repel.
That was a flash from Shook as well.
It was.
Flash straight into a Cocoon as well. Headlong into that one. Svenskeren will be happy. And look at this. It's another big dive on towards the bottom lane. Wicked's in trouble again. He's got Belly Slam available, but that's going to be a long, long way to go just to slam yourself out of this one. He's going to choose to go towards Candy Panda. Instead, he's just going to get bounced. It's a simple trade.
Very, very easy kill for SK. Grab themselves yet another one on the board. I also like the decision from Freddy to roam around the map because of the fact that he can't CS safely against the long range of Ezreal and the stuns of Braum. He's actually trying to impact other places on the map. Grabs himself an assist, and now Shook and Wicked are going to be defending this tower. A little bit of a missed shot there by Shook.
Skippity miss. And, well, Wicked once again gets himself the CS, which is a big difference for Freddy and Wicked, but of course there is an assist for Freddy, which should counter that, 20 CS gap. Close-ish.
Yeah, there's about 150 gold that separates the two top laners. Keep in mind the Dragon as well is obviously helping SK out, whereas the tower is also sitting in Wicked's back pocket. So SK, despite the fact that they've been moving very effectively and playing very aggressively, they're only 100 gold ahead, 200 gold ahead, so it is very, very even. That very big CS disparity between the top laners is helping Alliance, and the fact that Froggen is out-CSing Jez is also playing into their favor. But also important to note, Tristana 2-0-0 is going to get over that weak mid-game phase where Ezreal's going to shine very, very prominently because of the additional gold that Candy Pan has been able to collect.
Well played, SK here, playing the map well and securing both blue buffs. They stole away, of course, Svenskeren, remember, got that first blue buff in the Alliance jungle after that counter. Svenskeren will gift his blue buff across to Jez's, which is going to put Froggen in a little bit of problems. Freddy trying to return back to that top lane, thought he got himself a little bit of freedom, but Nif shows himself up there. So both AD carriers continuing their free farm. It's going to be Trinity Falls first for Tabs. Meanwhile, Candy Panda looks like this time is going to go towards that Infinity Edge as opposed to the static shield we just saw in the previous game.
So with the lane shenanigans going on, Alliance need to get some vision for this next dragon. With Elise on your side, it allows you to really get those dragon controls very early on, like SK have already done, in addition to having the lane swap being in their favor. But with the timing being up, and Alliance not really wanting to give up more gold, they can do well. Gragas barrels, Xerath from range. If Shook gets in there and causes the disruption along with, you know, the Glacial Fissure from Nif, there's a lot of power in Alliance's team comp in that very confined space. Obviously, Wicked needs to avoid taking harass and using his cooldown just to defend the tower for that to happen.
He's in trouble. That was his explosive cast just used. Svenskeren was like, fine, we'll move in. That tower's taken a lot of punishment already. He's got next to nothing to defend it. He has flash available. He can just dash himself away. Good wave clear. Triple Thorn's Ring, of course, gives him a chunk of health. And Rated could have done without taking his tower hits. But look at this. Candy Pan Svenskeren. They're simply going to run him away from the tower. And this will be the first turret of the game for SK.
Completely shutting down Wicked. This actually goes back to like Season 2 days, where the way to beat the old CLG EU was to camp Wicked, really. Put him on tilt and make his impact negatively felt. Now with Wicked playing Gragas, in the early to mid-game stages, he's predominantly there to cause disruption. You're looking for him to get body slams down, you're looking for him to get explosive casks off. So while he may not have the burst that you'd like him to have if you're an Alliance fan, he's still going to have the disruption power. So in 30 seconds when this dragon spawns, look at Alliance. They're grouping, they're moving to the pit. And thanks to that ward in the river bush, Nif doesn't face check and get caught by several SK members.
Yeah, everybody there. So all 5 members of Alliance moving into the dragon. Freddy is actually going to go clear that top wave first. It looks like Wicked may have to back off. Teleport's not available, so he can't go too far yet. That's why he's just going to come around the blue side, make it safe. Alliance will get themselves the vision. They get the ping ward down. And they have positional advantage as this Baron will get started out. SK, remember, secured the first one. Dark Binding almost catching on taps. SK moving.
Yeah, Dragons took a lot of damage on Shook, but Alliance have peeled. I think Alliance are looking for the team fight. Look at the teleport coming in from Freddy. There they go.
They're going on towards it, Svenskeren, but that's a good shockwave. 3 members of Alliance pulled in on this one. Freddy's Blood Will available. Wicked not going to get away. Fail flash there. Now Arcane Opal. Svenskeren does live to stay that one, and that is going to be a kill for Candy Panda on Wicked. Everybody from Alliance backing away. What a fantastic shockwave from Jez's Zoriana.
Very good team fight from SK Gaming. They managed to keep Alliance grouped up and get the damage down. Alliance, they haven't ended it yet. Also note, Nif did not have access to the still. Oh, no, that was secured by Svenskeren. Teleport now from Wicked. We'll see if they can get any kills. I think it's too little too late.
Yep, they're going to get out of there. SK are home free. All taken very low, but it was a good fight.
Shook was not in the middle of the team for long enough. So we do see Tabs and Wicked putting some pressure on Candy Panda and Nif in Rated, but it's just not enough. And because Nif didn't have that Glacial Fissure, it allowed SK to dance around Alliance and get even better positioning for damage with that Shockwave. Alliance will at least counter. So for both Dragons they've lost, Alliance have secured a tower in reply.
They should.
I think they will. No, they won't. Svenskeren's coming to back it off. It's going to be close.
I think they're going to get it. SK will have to step away. Tabs is looking like he wants to secure it. The question is, will he get caught out? Darbinding was following through. Good arcane shift and managed to escape that one. I think Shook's going to be gifted some CS here. You can see he's going towards that top lane. He's going to clear a wave out. Feeling the need for it. Of course, a Riven does need a couple of items. Has got a big CS advantage over Svenskeren. But Svenskeren, of course, with those 2 assists, with the global gold from the 2 dragons that he's got and that tower, he is leading. Yeah,
and I think, you know, for Shook, in order for this Riven to work in the composition they put together,
Shook's leading goal.
Shook needs to actually, he needs to be running amok. He needs to be in the middle of the SK team. And when this composition has worked for SK in the past, it's when Shook has been playing aggressively and counter jungling and comboing his damage in CC with the long range damage of Froggen. Froggen unfortunately only has an Athene's and Holy Grail at this point. It is, you know, 12 minutes in, so he's farming effectively, got a lead over Jez's. But he needs to be comboing that burst with the execution from Riven to secure some kills.
The invade is on, SK move in. Red buff now is the focus target. Froggen will get himself his first blue buff of the game. Shook spotting out the red invade. SK have full vision. Oh, Tabs, you are well out of position here.
I think he can get away, though.
Back the hell away. He's going to have Arcane Shift. He has not got Flash. I tell you he has.
Yeah.
Looking at Shook for some reason. And does just simply shift away. Candy Panda using his ultimate to blast him in the wall there. A little
too early.
questionable there.
So if he had used it when Enrated was in range, that sort of travel time while hitting the wall would have made the Dark Binding easier to land. But there we go, Cocoon on Shook. No support from the rest of SK though. That is a support and a jungler taking on support and jungler. Now Jesus has joined the fray. We do see a shockwave. Let's see who gets red.
Smite steal. Shook gets in there. Glacial Fisher not going to land because he managed to repel, but he's only going to land straight back in there. He's going to get taken down. Soul Shackles from Enrated. Will stun out 3 members, but Enrated is now very low. Arcano Pulse coming in straight away. Shock's in there. 3-man shockwave once again from Jesus. Sets up another 2 kills for SK. They turn it around. Froggen gives chase. And it was a straight up 2 for 2. The red buff traded in the end back to Candy Panda.
So Froggen was using the range really as the only advantage. Jesus had roamed earlier. He got involved in the fight earlier. And the scariest thing of that scenario is Candy Panda got the kill, the red buff, and he's 4-0-1. Look at the minimap. Jesus was zoning Froggen away, so Froggen couldn't really get into a position to lob all of the artillery out. And by time he can, that is just another fantastic shockwave coming out of Jesus. Candy Panda and Jesus get out clean. 2 for 2, red buff secured for Candy, and I think he's going to have enough gold for his Infinity Edge as well. So, big power spike on this Tristana against a not even complete Trinity Force yet on Tabs' Ezreal.
We've been talking about, of course, confidence gained, and SK just getting a single win over Alliance could be a big booster for them. You know, they said yesterday, Jesus, we're back. They got that win yesterday. SK feeling confident coming throughout this one. Of course, they're currently lying in, I believe it's joint 4th or 5th position in the table, chasing down the likes of Millennium and Super Hot Crew, who themselves are losing games. So SK are actually the team that are, I would say, probably favorites for 3rd spot right now.
I would think so too. If SK win this game, they will be tied for wins and losses with the Super Hot Crew. And it comes down to their last few games. I mean, later today, SK also play Fnatic. So there's 2 very big games against number 1 and number 2 if you're SK Gaming. And I want to plant a seed. Alliance have got nothing to lose this game because they are first. But on the same token, they don't really have anything to gain either. So, do Alliance let off the gas? Do they continue the focus? It's just a question. We'll see how this continues to play out, because for the time being, SK have been much more influential in this early stages.
Well, it's also a little bit in their hands of who they actually face. They face the 3rd and 6th place team in that semi-final. That could be the winner. Right now, it could well be SK versus Rocket. You know, they're going to be facing this. If SK win this game, they're going to be going into that match 2 weeks' time thinking, well, we beat them last time, I can do it again.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point. So we'll see how the game continues to play out. SK have still only got a 1,500 lead. They're behind in CS in both top and middle and jungle by a decent amount, and that's what's keeping Alliance relevant. And with another dragon spawning, SK are going to set their sights. The 2 previous dragons have been countered by a tower with Alliance, which is why the gold lead is much shorter. But look at the vision for SK Gaming. They've got the jungle and the river very nicely warded up. So if Alliance want to move towards that objective, SK have got a lot of information to work with.
I'm not sure Alliance can compete with SK right now for that dragon. That fed Candy Panda is a serious, serious issue. Not to mention Jesus landing shockwaves on point in the last 2 team fights.
It's all dependent on Froggen and Tabs landing long-range poke, as well as Wicked disrupting the team fight with his ultimate. He can no longer do that for the dragon fight because he just used that against Freddy in the top lane. And of course, because they're going toe-to-toe, Dragon started by SK.
Now, Wicked's in trouble here. Belly Slam will be back up. He's trying to buy time for Shook to come back up there. Freddy's going to try and jump away. Double flash used out there. Shook's not going to catch on. He's not. Oh, the Bloodwings will not be enough. Wicked's going to try and slam it towards it. Froggen will come in the curse. Right at the Arcane will land. He's going to come off Bloodwell. Wicked's got to be careful here. He does get the kill, though. He will secure it. They lost Dragon, of course, and now they're going to lose a turret.
Yeah, SK Gaming have got the numbers advantage in the bottom lane. They also have Jez is pushing up the mid lane. So there's going to be a lot of tower damage going down. Tabs doesn't even have his True Shot Barrage to clear out the wave. And this is Nif just all defensive duty. They don't want to lose more towers than they need to.
Well, Wicked has got himself back across just in time to hold out this mid lane turret as well. But the pressure is still on the inner turret down the side there. Look how careful Froggen has been. Doesn't want to step in towards that ball defensive zone that Jesus has set up, being very aggressive. Svenskeren moves back in. This will be the third time he's come in and stole away that blue ball.
Yeah, complete control. Froggen has been denied the regen, he's been denied the CDR, and that obviously means there's less opportunities for him to combo with Shuka with Wicked for those kills. So SK are just grabbing control of this game through Dragon Control. That is far and away been SK Gaming's biggest priority and biggest focus. From the moment Alliance initiated the lane swap, SK have committed a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of vision into going for those dragons. And thus far it's paying off. Thus far they've kept Alliance in the back foot. And as long as they keep being there at the right time, getting there early, they can prevent Alliance from really setting up the challenge.
And Jez is on that Orianna. Well, oftentimes you feel that Orianna's taking a little while to get going, has been instrumental in the last two fights. Shockwave's on point. Shook gets himself the red buff securely. Once that's going to slow down the opponent. Still doing a great job, honestly, Shook, in that jungle, despite the fact that his team are behind. He is quite far ahead of Svenskeren, the only really leading factor. Wicked doing a good job in terms of his farm as well. They've had to run defensive duties. They will secure this middle turret for now. But this bottom inner turret, that is the focus. SK once again pushing in. Tabs, he's got to be careful because Candy Panda's feeling aggressive. Oh, that's not going to land. That's going to cause problems. He's going to burn down here. This is going to take him low. Tabs, he can't defend this one. He has to back off.
Yeah, that was very smart from Candy Panda. He sidestepped the True Shot barrage thanks to the damage and the ultimate. Just gives another tower. Nobody else from Alliance was in range to defend. Shook is thinking of coming from behind, but this is going to be a 3 versus 3 versus an Infinity Edge Zeal. Candy Panda is going to destroy Shook. He's got just some attack damage to work with. No defensive items either. And you know, much like Kha'Zix when Diamond played him earlier, Riven is another champion. You need to build somewhat glass cannon to be super effective. Once you have enough damage to get kills, then you can prioritize maybe a third or a fourth item defensively. But until then, you need aggression, and right now SK have got it all.
One play from Candy Panda sets up 2 turrets. Really well played by him. He's using this Tristana that's been fed early on to pretty much perfect success. Freddy is the focus in the top lane. Shook's going to come around to him. Explosive cast, force him away. No Bloodwell available. He's going to try and pounce away. Shook will find him. He's just going to jump straight into him. He's going to go down. Right at the arcane. Does come in. Did he even get the assist on that one? I'm not sure he did. Froggen will be a little angry that that did not get a chance to give him the assist.
Good shot earlier. It's got the range. But yes, it's once again the combination. Whenever Shook plays Riven, they like to use the extreme mobility and hard CC that Riven brings to team fights to line up the long-range damage that Xerath can put down. And yes, while they are punishing Freddy, it's not really giving Alliance a lot of pressure. Killing Freddy is not leading them to buff steals, it's not leading them to tower kills, or it's not leading them to dragon presence. So it's little bits, yes, but Alliance need to find more. And in order to find more, I think they need to get deeper vision in SK's jungle and then catch them out of position.
Wicked.
Like this.
Yeah, caught out of position here. Wicked doesn't know he's there though.
No.
They don't know he's there. Boy lives again.
Come on, give us a smile, Wicked. Focus
face. Of course. Well, focus face. Speaking of focus face, Froggen in this mid lane has the rest of Alliance with him, but they are running defensive duties. They're careful of this top lane threat, moving again into another inner turret. Candy Panda's just rotating around the map, taking what he pleases. They're going to focus on Jesus and completely miss. Glacial Fishing being used out there. They can keep focusing on this top lane turret. Wicked taken in serious trouble. He cannot face his 2 alone.
So Nif traded his flash for Jez's flash. That is actually important to note, because if the next fight breaks out and Shook or Nif are able to get on Jez's, they can take him down. But it means that window of opportunity needs to be punished. Alliance are 4k gold down. They're hemorrhaging towers every single time they get split up. And in the pre-game video, Alliance said SK plays the objective rotation game. SK are rotating better than Alliance are.
Well, while they're doing this, SK rotating around there down the bottom lane. Freddy also pushing in. Another inner turret goes down. Wicked has to deal with that. He can't get involved in here. And Freddy just hops away as the rest of the team all move to the mid.
SK have just really making use of their their minion waves very effectively. The moment Alliance are split up, or the moment Alliance are engaged elsewhere on the map, SK have just pushed relentlessly. And of course, the wave clear from that massive AoE on Candy Panda as well as Jez's is also helping them control the tempo of the map. Another Dragon, this one's going to be uncontested. I don't see Alliance getting anywhere near. And SK just accelerate their lead and put more of a stamp of control in this game.
Well, Blue Buff has been stolen 4 times so far. Svenskeren comes around. This one's going to get locked up as well. I think they're going to give it Candy Panda this time.
Smited by Shook.
Was smited away. Finally managed to get in and steal it. It's a small win, but not a great one, that's for sure. And it does mean, of course, Candy Panda goes back and keeps on pushing. A lot of gold for SK Gaming now. They can all go back and buy. You can see that, nearly 3K on Jez's, 1,700 on Candy Panda. Everybody go back, get those items. Alliance continuing to push. They've still only got 2 towers, remember. Still yet to get that middle outer turret down, while SK, they're focusing on the final inner turret.
Yeah, and I still feel that SK Gaming's comp can also scale better. Tristana's going to outshine Ezreal. Jez's will do more in a team fight if he can get a good shockwave off, whereas I feel Froggen's going to be a little better in sieging and maybe defending sieges thanks to that long range, but I also like the combination of Aatrox and Elise. Not only are they very good at diving, oh, red buff goes to Tabs.
Oh,
nicely done.
it was gifted to him.
It was gifted to him.
Calm down, calm down.
What I like about the dive buddies of Freddy and Svenskeren is if they do jump onto Froggen or Tabs, because of the Bloodwell and the Repel, they've also got great escapes and survivability built in to disrupt that backline and make the carries of Alliance's life very, very difficult.
At the moment, we've got to see whether Freddy and Wicked can stay with each other, whether they want to fight, because that Blade of the Ring King was completed a while ago. Freddy still only got that single item though, whereas Wicked is reeling, trying to get some damage on there, wants to get that Death Cap on. Look at SK. They're causing problems, and Alliance are fearful of honestly going in their own jungle right now because the vision is there for SK. Alliance, they really got 0 vision in their own jungle, which is why they're just skirting around the outsides of it. And if every time he goes in, everything gets swept out, and he can't manage to place anything. Gets himself some vision that way, throws out the Q, manages to land it unenrated.
So we talked about this yesterday when SK played Millennium. Last week, we highlighted how SK had bought and placed the least wards out of every single team in the European LCS. And yesterday, or last week rather, when they beat Roccat, they placed aggressive wards and they used their aggressive wards exactly like they are doing now. There is deep vision all throughout Alliance's red buff side of the jungle. Sven and Candy Panda are fed and farmed so effectively that they should be taking this Baron before Alliance even get there. And Raid's running interference, but I think this buff is gone.
It's gone. Oh, nearly. Svenskeren caught out. Oh, right, the Arcane's going to have to pop on him. Still not going to get enough on there. Completely out of position now, Alliance. They're in trouble. Tabs is trying to run away, but he's running straight in towards the team. Svenskeren will go down to him. So he manages to get a kill. They're going to rush in the mid lane now. Look at the mid lane. We can see, of course, Shook's rushing in there. Nif's going to try and run away from this one. He will get caught out. Candy Panda should blow him away any second now, but they are losing towers in the mid. They have to start dealing with this one. The second turret could go down here, Alliance, but they've got to get back. Look in the top lane. Candy Panda continuing to push in there. Froggen and Shook should have enough. This is going to be a turret down. Jez is going to get jumped on. Shook, I'm not sure he's on the same page. He's eating too many tower hits. Jez is now hand to counter towards him, but now they're continuing to push the top wave. Wicked is there. He should be able to wave clear this. He has the barrels and his ultimate available. There's the ulti. Blows Freddy into the tower, but they're continuing to burn it down. Candy Panda turns back onto Wicked, and now they do finally settle down. Lots of action across the map.
So Alliance managed to secure 2 towers off that play. Yes, they gave up a kill and some damage on the inhibitor turret, but that's probably the best that they could have done in that situation. Getting the global gold and opening up both the blue and red buff side of SK's jungle is a small win for Alliance. I think more credit has to be given to SK. They set up a ring of wards around Alliance's red buff, instantly bursted down that Baron very, very quickly as a 2-man, and obviously then just traced around the map. So very smart play from SK. They continue to show that they are deserving to be in control of this game.
Well, we'll see what they can do with this Baron, of course. There was a fair amount of time used up there by the fact that they did continue pushing just as a 2-man. It does, of course, wipe half of it off. Who do you think will win? Well, no surprises. You guys voting on Twitter right now think SK are in control. Well, they are 5,000 in the lead, so it's not surprising that you do think that. Bandwagon and jump, I believe, is the phrase.
We'll have to ask the LCS preview crew if they can actually see who changes their votes.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we track who's voted for both with a 15-minute difference in time frame? But regardless, SK have just, from the moment they took the first dragon, they have been controlling the tempo. Now, this is actually a similar situation that Alliance found themselves yesterday against against Roccat rather, where Roccat were dictating control, and a misplay from Roccat gave Alliance the win. We'll need to see if SK make those same mistakes. For the time being, I don't believe they will, because every decision they have made has ended up being a net gain for the SK Gaming team.
Well, the problem is, Candy Panda's now getting longer and longer range. He's almost at max, and he can just walk up with that shield. Start finding lands on Wicked. Look at the damage it just turned down on him. Half the hit points gone instantly, and now Nip, he's in trouble. Has to flash away. Tower goes down. SK continue to move forward with this Baron Ball.
Yeah, they're going to be able to continue the siege up by knowing the fact that Nip and Wicked should back to heal. This should allow SK Gaming to finish off this tower. They've got a minion wave conga lining its way up. It'll be a few seconds before it actually gets to the tower. There's not a whole lot of armor on Freddy. He's prioritized the MR, obviously against the likes of Froggen and Wicked. Look at Candy Panda, he's just
cheeky.
Ooh, that was good damage.
Oh, Arcano pulse, not gonna land. Right, the Arcane gonna snipe him out! Froggen gets on towards him! SK now in trouble because Alliance will push. They will take that as the red rag to the ball, and they're gonna keep on pushing through. SK Gaming sneak away the red buff, but they're in trouble. They can't go for Dragon. They've still got the Baron buff that's gonna run out any second now as Alliance continue to chase.
Keep in mind, Alliance are 3 ultimates down. They do not have True Shot Barrage, Right of the Arcane, or the Explosive Cast, but they do have Nif's Glacial Fissure for team fights. So Alliance managed to grab their first dragon of the game after punishing Candy Panda with a great skill shot there from Froggen. But it still is just a small win. The thing is, right, even though SK have been in control, Alliance is still only 5k gold down. At 30 minutes, that is not a massive amount when it is split across 5 members of the team. Every time SK took a dragon, Alliance took a tower. SK take Baron, Alliance take 2 towers. So the objective play and objective focus is keeping Alliance relevant. They are not out of this game yet.
Yeah, they managed to shove all the waves out as well. You can see the bottom wave was pushed out. Wicked working his way on that one. He's got to be careful he doesn't go too far. He can just slam himself across there. They did take the dragon. He will get spotted out by a ward, so they know that now Candy Panda is free to farm in this bottom. We should point out, of course, that everybody went back from SK. Special Cow picked up by Unrated. Void Staff was going to be by Jezus. So big items starting to come in for them. Magic resist all around, honestly. Spectral Cowl also picked up.
Oh, they're jumping on SK.
Oh, they're going to jump towards him. Enrate is now going to be the focus. He will get slowed down. There's the belly slam. It's not going to be quite enough. Dark Binding turns it around. Glacial Fissure will get on Jezus. He's going to be the focus. If he goes down, it's big, big trouble for SK. Shook gets on towards him. Enrated running for his life. Shook could help skipping and jump on him in a second. Nip manages to catch on. 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit. He will get stunned up. He goes down. And just like this is exactly what happened to Roccat yesterday. Alliance are going to push on. Candy Panda's only just back into bases in the inhibitor turret going down.
D-Man, you talked about the split push from Candy Panda. Yes, he had the vision, but the moment Candy Panda was pushing out the bottom wave, Alliance seized the opportunity. They found 2 kills in the middle, shutting down Jezus, Enrated. They're going to get super minions in the middle lane, and they're going to carry on pushing.
They're going to get a Nexus turret, that's for sure. They're going to keep on shoving through. It's 3 members. 15-second death time is still up. They could get 1 and back out, but it's a risky play. Alliance are playing a dangerous game. They need to back away from this one. They haven't got the minions with them. They are going to step away, and they should take exactly what they got from that one. It's a good play for Alliance, but it is a dangerous game to stick around.
The decisiveness from Alliance, the moment they realized they could catch Jezus out in that middle lane, because Candy Panda wasn't there, because Freddy wasn't there, Alliance pounced. With super minions pouring down the middle lane, this is going to give Alliance more map control. If Alliance can control the top and bottom waves and allow those super minions to work in their favor, it may set Alliance up for the next Baron, which spawns in 40 seconds.
And SK moving in, you just saw the pink ward getting wiped out by Nif. He snuck one in the side there. This is what we talked about this yesterday. Everybody puts the pink ward into the pit, and then there's a sneaky one just outside that's getting swept, not seen. SK didn't spot that ward. So Alliance with vision right now. Know that SK are in there.
SK have got to be careful. This is a similar mistake
Look what
that
they're
they
doing.
made.
They're pushing the super minions down. SK cannot leave their base untouched like this.
So Wicked pushed out the bottom lane before he backed. With Alliance shoving the super minions and helping them reach the base of SK Gaming in the middle. It's going to allow them to get vision superiority once more in the Baron pit, and then also look to set up this objective. Nif is trying to get some wards up, but nobody's going to go for the buff just yet.
Nobody came in and put a ping ward down. SK didn't get in. They didn't get a ping ward down. There is one on and rated, but they didn't use it. I guess they realized that they weren't going to be able to hold the position, so they simply wanted to clear the vision away.
Shook has flash stunned multiple times. Wicked has also used his explosive cask as an initiation tool. If they continue to stick in the grass, this is exactly what they'll be looking to do. And in terms of spell shields or something like that, Candy Panda needs to be super on point with his flash or his rocket jump to dodge those out. There's no Banshees to burst through, so Alliance have got fairly clean initiation if they can close the distance.
Top, bottom, and mid wave are all pushing in favor of Alliance. So SK are the ones on the defensive here, and Rated taking a little bit of punishment there. Quick shot coming out of Tabs. Alliance are not feeling too confident here because SK are trying to shove here. This is a dangerous fight, whichever way it will go.
In terms of straight-up team fights, if Alliance get hit by multi-man spells, you know, a 2-3-man knockup from Freddy or a 2-3-man shockwave, that can be devastating for their squad. Similarly, if Alliance land a Glacial Fissure in the right way, they can use their long range to shut down SK's members. But SK, they stare down the barrel of the gun and they push those super minions out.
Yep.
That buys them time for that inhibitor to respawn and for them to get control of the Baron pit.
Well, SK do move in. They do get control. Freddy is going to go down the bottom. Has got teleport available. Can just wipe out that wave. But Alliance have bullied them out, brute forced them out. As soon as he shows himself, they go aggressive. And again, they're looking to get in there. Shook not able to flash in this time. They're going to keep on pushing with those super minions in the mid lane. They're going to choose this time. They can turn around. Baron is up in a moment. SK out of position. Alliance rushing for it.
So Alliance should feel they have vision control. And if they sweep out any more wards, it also means Freddy's options for teleporting in are somewhat reduced. But what Alliance have shown when they play these types of comps as well, they peel from Baron instantly and jump on the champions. They're more focused on getting the kills than and then a safe Baron.
We've seen this before, I think. SK going to try and push up the mid lane again. And Alliance sticking around the side. Dark Binding will not land. But Alliance are winning this poke fight here. Candy Panda, though, one shot onto Tabs shows how much damage he can do. Lifesteal being used. They wipe out the Wraiths, and SK Gaming try and come around the side. That shockwave, it could be huge for Jez. Svenskoren's taking a big chunk of poke in that last engage. You can see he's on half health, and he's backing off to base.
So that shockwave can win the team fight for SK, and it can lose the team fight for SK. If it does not hit the right targets, or it doesn't do enough damage, then SK Gaming's straight-up 5v5 power is somewhat reduced, especially because of the Gragas barrel. That is such a game-changing ultimate for Alliance. Those are the two that we need to keep our eyes on. If Jez or Wicked land the right ultis, that can guarantee you a team fight win. So Alliance have started Baron. I think SK are aware of it. Look, they're grouping up. Candy's going to be a little late to this fight, but instantly hopping over the wall.
Clever play, though, from SK, making use of their vision or lack of vision for Alliance. Candy Panda went out, stole away the blue, went back to base, and now he's back in the fight. All that's happened, and Alliance were just sitting, dancing around the Baron. Out of position, they didn't have vision, and now SK honestly have a little bit of an advantage.
70 seconds before that explosive cask is available again. Look at how aggressive SK are deciding to play. They know the disruption from Gragas is not there, and now they're moving a little further forward. That was an aggressive rocket jump from Candy Panda. Needs to be somewhat careful.
He's got a Banshee's Veil now, though.
If he does rocket jump into a Shook stun or a Xerath stun, I think he'll be fighting the dust.
So, Alliance, they're going to have to do something here. They've got a good advantage in that last fight. They managed to work well. They got in there. Now they're going to come around the side. Look at that damage, though. Wicked and Froggen both hit by Jez's shockwave. It was enough to slow everything down, and I think everybody wants to back away after that fight.
Yeah, Baron Dance is a very, very real thing. Alliance, thanks to catching SK out and punishing the inhibitor, have been able to pull themselves back in the game. That 5,000 gold difference that was at 30 minutes is still there at 37, where it's even less relevant. There's a lot of damage being built up by all of the carries on both of these squads, and Shook has got himself some defensive stats as well. With that Banshees, with that Hex Drink and potentially a more of Mortius, he's also going to take a while to go down. Alliance is back to now, it's all of a sudden SK, they're going for the two-man Baron. They did this last time with N-rated zoning, but I think Alliance can get you. I mean, there's a TP on Wicked, and Froggen, oh, that TP is being used from Wicked. I don't know where he's joining. He's middle lane. There's Baron going lower.
That's
this
going
might
to
be
give
a
vision. They saw it. Shook's going to try and hop across. Oh, he's blown backwards. Nice use of ulti from Candy Panda. He manages to get in and get the Baron nonetheless, though. Shook will go down. That's a trade. It's going to be the Baron going in there. Can SK manage to pick something up from this one? Freddy's going to chase on towards Nif. Flashes out just at the right time. He's going to get taken down. That's a double kill for Candy Panda. It's a 5-on-3 Alliance. Can they defend?
Well, Alliance have got some wave clear with Froggen. That is very, very key. But against 5 members of SK, if SK decide to tower dive, it's going to be much more difficult to defend. So Shook manages to hop over the wall, get the execute with his Wind Slash and Smite, steals Baron away from SK Gaming, but at what cost? 2 deaths is the current tally, and SK Gaming are going to get this inhibitor turret. Alliance don't seem to be looking to defend.
No, I think they know that this turret's going to go down. They're going to keep them away from the Nexus turret. They're going to accept the fact the inhibitor will go down. Gigantic stack in the top lane that SK could rotate up towards. Right, the Arcane coming out. Can he snipe anyone out this time? It doesn't look like it. Freddy will use the slow to keep them away, and Alliance will hold the base for now. Dragon is available. SK's going to run down there and keep that gold advantage in their favor.
So Alliance lose control of the Baron pit. SK once again decisively start that one off. They kick it off very quickly, got a lot of damage down, and despite the fact that Shook stole the objective, SK get the advantage. They get super minions in the mid lane, they get the Dragon Gold as well. And we need to see if SK are going to push these side lanes. All of that happened because Jesus managed to land that shockwave. It forced Alliance to back away. They took a lot of damage, and that was the go signal for SK Gaming.
So Alliance, they got the first inhibitor, despite the way this game was going, but now theirs is down and SK's has respawned. So Alliance have to be defensive. They are up against a SK Gaming team that is determined, despite the fact 3 members of Alliance have Baron buff on them. Candy Panda, he has been the deal breaker, I think, in this game, absolutely causing all of the problems from the very start. 7-1-2, big shields on him. That's a Banshee's Veil and a Bloodthirster. Keeping him topped off, and look how quick he's wiping out the waves. Top level 18, max range Tristana with max item build.
There are 4 Banshee's Veils on SK Gaming's side. So Alliance need to put in so much work with Gragas and Xerath before they can even look to engage. They need to pop multiple Banshees before Shook can even consider going in. And it makes life very, very difficult for Alliance because of the fact that all of their damage is being mitigated and reduced. That's 2 burst mages of Gragas and Xerath. And, you know, Wicked's built mage. He hasn't built for tankiness. He hasn't built to be sticking around in the middle of a fight. So SK are in a very good position. Rated. Still got a fair amount of health, but burst down very low.
True Shot Barrage kind of wasted there, though. Not sure what he was aiming to gain with that one, whether he just wants to force him away. Nevertheless, it's on a pretty quick cooldown. Blue buff, though, is going to get picked up once again by SK. They've pretty much controlled this one. Only twice Alliance have been able to get in and secure it. Froggen will push out a little bit, but Jesus will now have that blue buff. And that could be important. Those shockwaves working so well for him. Hasn't had too many of them, but every time it lands, it has been vital for SK.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Jesus has been in the right place at the right time. One thing that does play into Alliance's favor in sort of this base defense scenario, because of the wave clear that Xerath and Gragas have, as well as the fact that 4 of their 5 champions have relatively low cooldowns, they can actually afford to use those ultimates in defense of their remaining inhibitor turrets, and then still hope to have it up by the time the next fight breaks out. SK are still playing fairly timid. Finally grouped up in this bottom lane, but we'll see how deep they commit.
The one thing with those Banshee's Veils, Tabs can pop them quite easily, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's working on taking down those Banshee's Veils every time. Freddy with the super minions, trying to push in the mid lane. Gotta be careful, he is pretty tanky right now. Spirit Visage and Frozen, the Randian's Omen on him. But he is not anywhere close to being vulnerable against the damage the Alliance do have.
And something else to highlight, in this scenario, if Nif manages to get a Flash Glacial Fissure, this is such a tight area or tight zone of control. That's where Alliance can get a lot of AoE down and really control the area effectively. But Candy Panda has just taken off, what, 80% of that tower with 1.5 minion waves? And does such a good job of forcing Alliance to think about the engagement.
It's gone. It's gone. Candy Panda opens up. The can opener that is Tristana from long range has done work. They need to go aggressive on this one. They're going to lose themselves a second inhibitor. It's dangerous stuff here, though. Taps is going to get another. Banshee's Veil down and Rated's this time around. Freddy, he gets the belly slam on there. Wicked goes aggressive, holds that inhibitor that has respawned in the mid lane. Then Rated getting a little bit dumped on. SK will back away. They've got the turret down. That's what they wanted, but they're not moving yet.
They're very, very scared of the engage. If they group up on those steps and get hit by the stun of Shook and the stun of Nif, or the knock-up of Nif, that's going to be the gold lead that they've built up just gone. They've got an exposed inhibitor themselves, so it is a little risky. And they're relying on those Black Shields and those Banshee's Veils to help keep them alive and help keep them in the right place at the right time. Freddy has pushed minions up to the mid lane. There we go. Candy Panda's got a couple of hits onto the inhibitor, but look for a flash fissure from Nif or an explosive cast from Wicked. They have to do it soon. If they don't, they're going to have super minions in 2 lanes. Alliance time is running out.
Freddy hitting the inhibitor off the side. This inhibitor's going down. Alliance are basically sitting possums right now. They're going for it. Shock manages to get it. Lands the stun. Shockwave yet to be used. They disengage well. Svenska taking a lot of damage. Freddy takes down the inhibitor. There was the Shockwave. Only caught to Shock, so that is going to be 1 for 0 currently to Alliance. They lost the inhibitor. SK will disengage.
Yeah, so we're managing to get out to luck. Froggen.
Right at the arcane. Not going to quite be enough, but they're going to pursue. They're going to keep on chasing. Alliance, they have super minions in that mid lane in a moment. They will have to deal with them. Shook's back there. The rest of Alliance, they're going to chase SK down.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that they can gain from that. Alliance really tried to make a fight happen, but they were somewhat split. Freddy pulled some of the focus over the left-hand side of the fight, and even though Shook managed to flash in and get that stun down, there was just not enough damage to clean up multiple members of SK. The primary threats of Jezzes and Candy Panda were alive, but there's 20 seconds on Baron. It correlates with the death time on Svenskeren. Alliance should have the timer for this. If they want to rush it down, the possibilities for Alliance to grab an inhibitor, a Baron, at the cost of that inhibitor.
Well, SK are going to get close. Freddy thinking of teleporting in, actually cancelled it there. Instead, he's going to move around the side. Froggen trying to get some Pokemon towards N-rated. Baron, they are ready to go. It's going to spawn. Alliance started off. SK moving in. Svenskeren is up and running towards this one. He's going to be too late, though, to get in and smite. It's down to the rest of his team to try and delay this one. Shockwave will be vital in this Baron pit. That's what they need to land. It's going to come in. 4-man Shockwave pulls in. A little Alliance secure the Baron, but at what cost? Because SK Gaming are just wrecking them in the pit. 1, 2, 3, 4 members down. Just Froggen remaining, and SK Gaming can turn and run for the base.
They've got 5 members to deal with Froggen. They've got an exposed middle lane. They should be able to turn onto these Nexus turrets, and SK Gaming, D-Man, have taken down the #1 team in Europe.
Fantastic performance overall. They've led the whole game, and SK Gaming look to close this one out. We can see it just again. The 4-man Shockwave, they've managed to land it, and it's such a dangerous, dangerous thing to face them. They landed it, they got it, and it was a risky play for Alliance, and they knew it. That's going to be 1 Nexus turret down. The second one will follow. Svenskeren's keeping Froggen busy. He will get the reset on towards Freddy. That doesn't matter. Nexus turret goes down. SK Gaming take down Alliance.
2-0 in Super Week for SK. They completely controlled and smashed Millennium yesterday. They led against Alliance the entire game, despite a hairy moment where they lost their inhibitor. And they've set themselves up in a very positive, confident game in El Clasico to wrap up the LCS today.
9-1-4 for Candy Panda. He started off and continued to play brilliantly. You've got to give massive props, though, to Jezzes. Those shockwaves were vital in so many team fights. I count 1, 2, 3 3-man team fight, 3-man shockwaves, and of course that big 4-man shockwave in the Baron pit. That is what you need with an Orianna, and that is what you got with Jezzes.
He hit every single one. His Ari yesterday was superb. His Orianna today was superb. And SK Gaming are now tied with the Super Hot crew at 14 wins and 12 losses apiece. If they take down Fnatic later today, they will take control of that 3rd place.
What a turnaround. SK Gaming suddenly come into Super Week. They were so far down. Remember, they were on 0-5 just a week ago.
Yep.
And that one win gave them the confidence they need, it seems. And of course, that sports psychologist I know is here. I've seen him. And they are obviously doing some wonderful, wonderful things because SK are lifted right now. The win over Alliance, I think they may well go 4-0 now. Fnatic is a big, tough game, though.
It is
That's
tough.
the final match of the day.
It is tough, but the confidence that they've got from going 2-0 is definitely going to help them out. And I think if you look at SK, every video we've had, no matter how strong or how heavy those interviews and those segments are, the team always goes, we just weren't scrimming enough, we weren't training enough, we know what we need to do. And they've come into Super Week, they sure as hell have been doing what they need to do. Because taking down Alliance in a very confident way, very deserving.
Burnout is a real thing, that's for sure. We'll see how it worked out. We're going to go speak with N-Rated over on the stage with Shox.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Congratulations, N-Rated. What a victory here versus the first place team. Talk me through the end phase of that game. Incredibly close, culminating all in that Baron.
Well, one time they even tried to sneak Baron. I think they almost got away with that. They're a very strong opponent. They know what they're doing, and it was very hard to play like the late game against them. I feel right now they're kind of on their peak. Like they're playing really well, and they also were on a winning streak. So coming into this match, we just went with all preparation we had and just did the best we could, and we won.
Talk me through how vital that Kog'Maw ban turned out to be in the end, because I feel like that would have been the only thing in their late game comp that could have made you guys lose, maybe.
Well, I feel like right now, because of Candy got very fat and Tubbs didn't, so he had a lot more impact. So the main key factor of them was the poke that Xerath offered, and as long as we evaded that poke, we could have had a team fight, but it was very hard to push them in because they had Kragas and Xerath, so everything slowed down, and we had a long like break phase where we were trying to establish vision control around Baron, but couldn't really get it, and we managed to sneak it in the end, so that was our point, and they stole it, the last one, but beside that, we just won the game because we had a lot more on teamfight potential, and our AD carry was way more fat than theirs.
Yeah, and you finally managed to beat out the Riven jungler from Shook. That's also a feat. Let me ask you how you guys are gearing up for playoffs, because obviously it's a very different season than what you guys have done last season around. You ended second after the playoffs. Now, kind of a split full of ups and downs.
Well, it was kind of up and down for sure. We started off very good, but we didn't put as much preparation in as we could have, and I feel like we stepped up in terms of practice a lot, especially now for Super Weekend playoffs. We just played as much as we could, and we talked about the game, and we just kind of figured out what we wanted to do in every scenario, and it kind of helps us being in shape and being in our comfort zone and just playing our game, and that's what you're seeing right now, just playing our game and trying to do what we can.
It shows, and it is scary. You've taken down Alliance, the first place team. Later up, you're facing Fnatic, the second place team. Talk me through the importance of that game for you.
I feel Fnatic is kind of unpredictable in some cases. Some cases they are predictable. We're trying to get advantage of those. We have made our preparation for those matches as well. So coming into this, we feel secure. We know what we're doing, and if everything goes like we expect it to go, then we can have the upper hand.
I think it's going to be a very good matchup. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, all of our ults are on cooldown, so we have to back off for just a minute. But when we come back, Gambit takes on Millennium. Stay put.
Just hold on, we're going home. Going home.
Soul Shackles from N-Rated. Wilson now 3 members, but N-Rated is now very low. Okay, no ball's coming in straight away. Shock's in now. 3-man shockwave once again from Jesus. Right, the Arcane gonna snipe him out! Froggen gets on towards him! Not gonna be quite enough. Dark Binding turns it around. Glacial Fisher will get on Jesus. He's gonna be the focus. If he goes down in big trouble for SK. That's gonna be vision. They saw it. Shook's gonna try and hop across. Oh, he's blown backwards. Nice use of ulti from Candy Powder. He manages to get in and get the Baron nonetheless though. Shook will go down. He's gonna come in. 4-man shockwave balls in. A little iron secure the